Hey, Roberto.
Hey.
Tell us what this is we're looking at here.
Okay, let me show you. Okay, when I start working, normally I would start with doodling of colors. You know, just I do hundreds of these things, doodling of color, and I just go through hundreds of them. And they're just abstract color compositions. They have no connection with still lifes at this point. They're just abstract colors. Sometimes I like one of the color combinations and I decide to work on it, and I start thinking of objects that could actually go well with that color combination. I may use objects that do or do not exist in this format or color, and I adapt them to fit the predetermined color scheme. The idea is to stick to the color scheme and come up with something meaningful. If I like the objects, if I like what's happening, then I'll do a more defined approach in a watercolor. I do, you know, a good watercolor of it, and hopefully by then I have a precise idea of what the painting would look like if I take it to the next stage. Not all of them get into paintings, but if they do, that would be what the painting looked like. And in this case, we have the painting here finished already of what was originally an abstract sketch. At all times, even at the ending of in the finishing touches of the painting, I always refer to the original abstract sketch to you know, tune in the colors. I want the light, I want the color combination to be as close as possible to the original. Of course, there's always variations, but as close as possible to the original, not to lose the vibrancy of the fresh original approach. To keep the looseness of the first impulse. So here we have the original color scheme, completely abstract, not connected to any objects. At that point I didn't know what the objects were going to be like. Eventually this developed, and as you see, when you go into the painting, there's transformation, of course, but you know, pretty much sticking to the original scheme. So basically, we're going from the abstract to the concrete, as opposed to the traditional approach of still lifes, which is, or a figurative painting in general, which is going from the concrete to the abstract. I'm using color as the backbone of the composition, and not as an element that is added to a composition based on form or line.
You seem to get all the shadows into the highlights so well.
Thank you.
It's almost realistic.
Yeah.
Or I guess it is realistic, is what I'm trying to say. Is that even more like surrealistic because it's so realistic?
Well, some people have suggested I prefer to leave it within the realism. There is no real narrative subject matter behind these paintings. I'm not intending to portray any surreal subject matter like a dream state or something like that. So in that state, I just call them, you know, realism. The style is defined as cypherism, which is the precision approach to the delivery of the painting, the kind of backgrounds that I use, the kind of subject matter. It's what pretty much would define the entire style. Is under the heading cypherism, which is a concept developed by Dr. Vigo, and that fits perfectly well my work. Precision is at the head of all this. I mean, there's truly an exercise in discipline. It's an exercise in precision. I'm also, I also practice some Oriental disciplines, and it's pretty much the same frame of mind. When you're painting, you're just working with your own self, trying to develop a discipline, the discipline of painting in this case. So it's really about getting it right. Same thing with this painting.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let me get the. Is that going on?
Yeah, go.
Here we have another example, a painting that started as this abstract color or interplay of colors and developed into this object to match this color scheme. Now from this watercolor then came to the painting that is this one. And of course it adapts so that it can work with others. The light is a little different. I love working with flowers. They're wonderful in their own right. They have great symbolism to all of us, and they're also wonderful objects with which you can work the upper part of the painting. They're wonderful composing tools for the upper portion of the canvas. Enjoy working with them.
Well, tell us, Dad. You're getting ready to do some painting now?
No. Let me get some of this set up here. I'm going to be. Okay, let me show you what's going on. Let's start with this painting. We have this composition here that I'm going to use to exemplify the way I work my backgrounds. Also starts as an abstract, doodling of color basically, and evolves into this still life. And from there I'm going to make a painting. The painting is in process right now, it hasn't been done. The drawing is down on the canvas, and it was time to do the background. In order to do the background, I have this technique by which I block the objects, the opaque objects, I block them with a water-soluble tempera, which is what you still see here, which I'm going to show you how it comes off at the end. Originally these objects were covered, so that I could apply a background through and through, and after the background has dried, then I would come and scrape out, with the razor blade.
Say that. How do you pick out your mood music?
Oh well, morning music is always Mozart. Night music is always Bach. It varies. Afternoons I work with the periods in between. But I just love classical music, mainly Bach. I'm very big on Bach music. Let's go for some Mozart now. Okay, so as I was saying, the tempera has to be scraped off. Okay, let's just sample how it works. And then the water soluble part of it will dissolve when you apply water. See? This is a process that I have arrived after a few years. At the beginning I used to use tape to block the canvas. See, it's a very slow process, extremely time consuming. To do this object here could take a couple of hours until you get the background back to nice and white. The advantage of working this way is that when I do the objects, the painting of the objects, because I have white behind it, I can get all the luminosity I need. If I was working over another color, of course it wouldn't work. And the alternative, the more traditional alternative to do the object and then apply the background, will give you on the edges of the objects a not too smooth approach. So I prefer to, although it's time consuming, I feel it's a great way of going about it. I really enjoy working this way. This one first. First, start with the sketch here again, so we can follow the idea. Okay. This next one I wanted to show you starts with this abstract idea. Still life. And I am right now in the process of painting that still life. am at a stage where the flower is pretty much finished. This object, you know, all these other objects still need a lot of work. The underpainting is down. They need to tune in the colors and add highlights to get the lights right. For that, we go to the objects. I do set up the objects in order to see how the light falls on them. This little object is the sample I use to see how the light falls on it. Of course, the one in the painting is a completely different color, but I can still tell how the light and shadows behave. Same with this object and same with the highlights on the bottom. Normally, okay. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a highlight on this glass. First I'll put some oil so that I get a wet surface. I like to work my glazes on wet. And I like to put these styrofoams in the back of the canvas so I have a hard surface. I enjoy working on, although I work on canvas, I like it, at certain passages at least, I like it to be hard. So I firm it up this way. That way I can have a different bounce on the canvas. Okay, so now we have wet surface. And That's pretty much how it gets set up. I actually go on for bringing it up until it's just right. An hour when I'm lucky. Sometimes it goes longer than that. I'm really, at this point it needs to be extremely precise. It's a very time-consuming project. But that's pretty much the way it's set up. Basic idea of how the highlights go down.
All right, anytime you're ready.
Welcome to this.
Step back so you're in the light.
Welcome to thisisart.com, the world's premier up close and personal art site. Today we're making our second in a long series of studio visits to Roberto Azank studio here in New Paltz, New York, where he does his well-known still lifes, which is just one of many, all numbered specifically to fit into enduring, that's the word, to an enduring or sustained opus. And here today, Rick Siegel, producer of thisisart.com and cinematographer, and I, Lee Klein, are visiting with Roberto Azank as Rick and his camera take you around Roberto's studio.
Okay, go.
This is one of the paintings that is ready to go to the upcoming San Francisco show at the Eleanor Auster Gallery. And I'm working on a total of 14 paintings for that show. 5 of them already, another 5 are definitely underway, and the others are still in a sketching mode. And I'd like to show you some of them. This one is one of the ones that is already finished.
It's an interview, you don't stand right next close to the person. Okay, so Roberto, I was just wondering, since you have so many shows all throughout the continental United States, you only had one show outside the United States in Toronto.
That's right, yeah.
And when you have all these different cities, since you're in different time zones and different climates, and since you're dealing with still lifes, do you ever paint, depict flora from that area? You don't ever thematically try to tie each other, because like Washington, you had a lot of flowers and it was just spring.
Yes, but I basically work within seasonal frame of mind. Like in the spring, I do, my colors get more spring-like. In the winter, I go more into winter colors. And then again, this painting was done in winter, so it varies. But I do not really use theme to fit a particular locale or a particular show. It has never been requested that I do so, so I have not done it, no.
Would you consider your works variations upon a theme in any way?
Well, they're just a series of still lifes. It's a progression of a style, and the reason why I call them by numbers, I just give them successive numbers, is because I consider them like would be just another composition, like with musical compositions, and the next one and the next one. It's just an exercise in doing this stuff that I do, which is making still lifes.
At openings and with sales, you see your work seems to be immensely popular with people, besides just art buyers. Why do you think so many different galleries? Usually an artist has 1 or 2 galleries. Why do you think so many different galleries?
I think that they respond well to the color. I'm sure they respond to realism in a positive way. I think that a lot of galleries most galleries already have a number of realist painters that are, important to the gallery. It's a strong thing coming back. Maybe I'm just lucky.
I'm done.
companies that are going to the San Francisco show. And those are watercolors for future work. May